Just to kick off really quickly, I'm Tessa Vanderkop and I'm with the Burnaby Board of Trade. I manage programs and sustainability at the board. Some of you might have seen our web resource, A Pledge for a Sustainable Community, where we really engage businesses around taking first and next steps towards becoming more sustainable. And in that space, we do all kinds of things. We deliver seminars like this. We do task forces and all kinds of other business engagement outreach. So today we've brought Hydro and Ben Gardner on board to talk about energy savings. Ben's done this for us before and he's great. He's been at Hydro working with small to medium businesses on energy conservation projects across the province for about the last 12 years. And then before that, Ben worked in facility management for the city of North Vancouver and Cypress Mountain. And today he's really here to share some of his inside knowledge on practices and what available programs there are for you. And I'll leave it over to Ben. Thanks, Ben.
All right, thank you. I'm going to see if I can share my screen here. Don't know how to, oh, I'm not allowed to share my screen.
Hang on, let me just go and see if I can find you. Oh my, okay, here we go. Ben. Todd. Just trying to, Benjamin. Sorry, normally I can.
Oh, you changed something.
Did I?
Yeah, I think you made me a host, so
okay.
Maybe I can, I don't know, things are happening. Things
are you
happening.
able to do it?
I don't know, let's try it. Look at that. All right.
Yay.
You see this?
Saved. Is
it working for everybody?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna move all these pictures out of the way so I can still see what I'm doing. So this is I kind of I cheated. So I stole this presentation from something I did last year for a conference about retailers and how to sort of help them achieve some of their goals around energy conservation. And I operated as sort of a lighting consultant for some of their members and helped them out with some of their lighting issues. So a better name for this presentation would be how incentives are different from rebates and why it matters. And we're also going to talk about lights. So incentives it seems like it's the same thing, right? You do a thing and then you get money back. Rebate is if you buy something and then you tell the manufacturer or you tell the government, hey, I bought this thing. I bought a fridge. I bought an Energy Star fridge, and you mail in a little coupon and then you get $50 back from BC Hydro. So that means the transaction happens, the engagement happens after the work is complete, after the project already happened. Incentives are different. So incentives mean that the engagement has to start before anything is done, before any work happens, before any products are bought. You kind of have to let whoever's offering the incentive know, hey, this is my intention, this is what I want to do. And then, so in our case, BC Hydro, we work out a deal with you and we say, oh, okay, so if you want to do this, okay, we'll provide this much after you finish. And I know it sounds like a little nuance to incentives and rebates. They seem like the same thing, but they're not. The best way that I can sort of describe why we do it this way is that it used to kind of be almost a rebate program before. Then we got audited twice by the government, and they said, hey, you have to have more control about how you give money back to people. Because the government's really good at taking money from people, but they're not so good at giving it back. So they put all of these sort of barriers and hurdles for BC Hydro to jump through, or jump over, I guess. You don't jump through a hurdle. And to around, like, it's really rigid around how we can give away money. And then that's another great question is, why does BC Hydro give away money? Why are we providing incentives and rebates for people to use less of our product? Like if you are a gas station, gas stations don't encourage fuel efficiency, they encourage fuel consumption. So why does BC Hydro work this way? And there's a few different reasons for it. I think I have a slide about it actually. Oh yeah, so the why PowerSmart. It used to be called PowerSmart. Now everything's PowerSmart, and we're just Energy Conservation Park, BC Hydro PowerSmart. So a lot of marketing materials and a lot of utilities will try and tell people it's the right thing to do. We're saving the environment. We're burning less coal or natural gas or whatever. But in BC Hydro's case, like 96.7% of our infrastructure is renewable. So it's kind of the right thing to do is just to do whatever you need to do. So I'll tell you the actual business reasons, and it might make more sense. So reduced generation requirement. So if I can incentivize you as the customer to use a little less electricity, then on paper, I take that electricity that I got you to use less of, and I put it back into the system. So it's essentially like taking some, if the wires that come down the poles to your house and to your business were had water in them instead of electricity, it's like me taking some of that water from you and putting it back in the dam, so that we have a reduced generation requirements for the system at large. The other one is reduced demand on the system. So especially in certain areas, the wires are they can only hold so much electricity. As new homes get built, as new businesses start up, as technology starts to infiltrate our lives, and everyone's got these giant TVs and a million devices to charge, and electric vehicles are coming online now. So there's a lot of demand on that existing system. And so by introducing conservation initiatives and paying people, incentivizing people to use less electricity, we can sort of stretch that out a little bit more, and we can get more use out of the existing infrastructure without having to do these huge, costly infrastructure and extremely disruptive infrastructure upgrade projects. Another one is, just third generation and substation upgrades. So some of the things we want to do is there's some substations where they're almost at capacity. They're transmitting as much electricity as they can, just about. So if we can get all the people that are served by that substation to just use a little bit less, then that substation is going to last another 10, 20 years. If everyone blows the doors off and continues to use electricity like it's going out of style, then that's like a huge infrastructure upgrade project. And these aren't small projects. These are massive disruptive projects that cost upwards $50 million. And then it's like, well, that sounds like a BC Hydro problem, not a me problem. But BC Hydro is a Crown corporation, so it all kind of comes back to us in one way or another. And then it stabilized demand growth. So as these new technologies come online, through the electrification of the transportation sector, we can sort of offset that new growth with some conservation activities. And that's sort of why BC Hydro wants people to save energy. And I like to start this when I talk to businesses, because that whole "it's the right thing to do" doesn't make a lot of sense to business people, because there has to be dollars and cents attached to it. Otherwise, why would we do it? And there is dollars and cents to it. And that's why BC Hydro is willing to give you money to use less electricity. And we can sort of get into it. Oh, this is an old slide from a long time ago, but so the bulb on the left there, it's the incandescent bulb. It's been around for hundreds of years. A little less common these days. The swirly one in the middle, that was really big. That was like the symbol of energy conservation for a long time, for like probably 20 or 30 years. And at the time, that was the best technology that was available. It was magnitudes better than the incandescent light, but it had its own issues. It wasn't a perfect solution. Then entered LED. So LED, probably not till about, I don't know, 8 years ago, they really developed a way to miniaturize the LED and increase its life and performance and light output. And then now it's just everywhere. So you got LEDs in your car headlights now. You got LEDs in street lights and everything. The LED is sort of taking the world by storm, and the economy of scale of that is that the price has come down and the quality has gone up. The more we learn about them, the more integrated they become in our lives, the better the products are and the cheaper they are. So that's kind of the standard now. If you're going to do any sort of retrofits or upgrades to your business or your home, you're going to go to an LED product. LEDs come in all sorts of shapes and sizes with BC Place. That's a big project that BC Hydro did with BC Place during their big renovation. It's just a pretty neat thing. This is the Lionsgate Bridge. So I remember I moved to Vancouver 20 years ago to go to school, and I remember the Lionsgate Bridge was super scary, and it always had lights burned out. It didn't look very good. It was dark. It was really narrow. And then they did the big resurfacing of it, made it a safer bridge. And then it was about maybe 9 years ago, BC Hydro worked with the city of Vancouver to have all the lights replaced with LEDs. So the LEDs, you're like, okay, that was a really expensive project. It cost a lot. Installation was definitely more than the light product. But what happened is they saved $35,000 a year just on operating costs, and they saved over $100,000 a year on maintenance costs. So that project, which was super expensive, paid itself off in about 5 years, a little less than 5 years. And now it looks like this today. It's 10 years, almost 10 years later. It still looks good. It still looks great. So LED is definitely the way to go. This is from the retail presentation. So this is an all 100% LED retail scape. So the benefit about LEDs is they come in shapes and sizes that you can put anywhere. So you can, and they don't require a lot of, like fluorescent lights require ballasting, or other lights require mounting positions. Some LEDs, you can just stick them on with double-sided tape. Or you can do what they've done here with these creative light boxes to really draw people in. So that's another one. I'm going to talk about the program. I'm going to get there and the incentives available. We're going to go through a little project. But first, I'm going to tell you that the lighting retrofits are very technical, and it's not something that if I wasn't an expert in lighting, it's not something that I would recommend undertaking yourself. There's a lot of professionals out there to help you. It probably doesn't even cost any more to have a professional help you. I sometimes see people try and save a couple bucks and do it themselves, and they end up spending more, and they aren't satisfied with the results. So I'm going to talk about how technical a simple lighting retrofit can be, and then how a vendor can help you. And then we're going to go through an example and see what money is available. I'd save that for the end because that's what people are sticking around for. So color temperature is a thing. It's always been a thing. It's actually measured in kelvins. I used to work in photography, and so color temperature was very important in photography. So I learned a lot about it then, and then I got into this lighting business, and then it's like, oh yeah, this is wonderful. This is awesome. So LED, it's an incandescent light, is typically on the orangey effect. So incandescent light, how it makes light is it heats up a tungsten filament, like a piece of metal, so hot that it emits light. That's not very efficient. That's more of a heater than a light source. So now we're at LEDs, and they can come in a variety of color temperatures. So on the left side, it's more like 1000 Kelvin. That is very, very amber. A candle light is about 1500. So that's right, that's like candles. And then on the other end is 10,000, which is, I don't think it exists in the natural world outside of artificial lighting, because like the sun on a clear blue day at high noon is about 6,000 or 6,500. So that's natural daylight. That's what you would see in the world. So color temperature is one thing to consider. And you choose color temperature based on the mood or the environment that you're trying to set in your location. So this is a great example. So this is sort of a collage of photographs taken from the same location during the path of the sun here. You can see as it's going through the horizon, and then midday, that's about that 6,000, 6,500, and then it sort of tapers off again. Interesting. So if you have an office environment, if you have a butcher shop, if you have, I don't know, like a furniture store or something, and you want it to seem very spacious and clean, and you want to keep people focused, then you want to go with something that's on the a higher color temperature spectrum. So this office is about 5,000 Kelvin. It's designed to create focus and create a open feeling when it's actually quite a small office. And then a restaurant, you want the other thing. You want it to feel cozy. You want it to feel warm. And you want it to feel relaxed. And so this is on the lower spectrum. So LED products let you sort of tune how you want that environment to look for yourself and for your customers. Color rendering index is something that gets ignored a lot. So you can buy discount, we'll call them, LED products from the internet. And they might look like they are going to work great. Often they'll not come with a lamp life guarantee, or at majority of the time they have a low color rendering index. So you can take two light sources, maybe both the same color temperature, and you can shine them at things. And the problem is they don't, you know how like a rainbow, like white light is made up of the rainbow all kind of stacked together? They don't have all the colors of the rainbow spread out as evenly as might be required. So when it shines off of an apple in this case, maybe there's too much red in the light source, or maybe there's not enough red in the light source, and it reflects light poorly, because all you're doing when you look with your eyes is you're looking at light reflecting off of things. So color rendering index is very important in grocery. It's very important in retail. It's very important in any kind of tasks that you need to do, like I don't know, small manufacturing, where you need to identify the difference of colors of different things. So color rendering index, so 70, so CRI 70 on the right there. That's typically what you'd get from a discount online sort of bulk supplier from somewhere else. 100 probably doesn't really exist. That's like from the sun. That's what that apple looks like in the sun. It's very hard to replicate. But color rendering 90, so a CRI of 90, can be common in the leading LED manufacturers. Those are just some of the things that we think about. And yeah, I don't expect anybody to know this or care about this. I just want to show you how technical a lighting retrofit can be. I'm sure maybe you're a butcher or baker or a candlestick maker. I don't know anything about those. So I'm not going to try to take those projects on myself. I would definitely go to you to get those things done. Just like a lighting retrofit. What did someone once told me? Let the singers sing, let the dancers dance. So there's lots of dancers that are really specialized in lighting work, and they can often offer you services for, they probably just included in the cost of a retrofit, cost any extra. So let's do a retrofit example. How much time we got? We got lots of time. I'm going through this pretty quick. So the 400 watt metal halide. Sounds like gobbledygook. Some people know, some people don't. It's the one on the left. So it's got the big ballast box there, and then it goes down to this giant weird shaped bulb. It's kind of football shaped, and then often it has this big reflector around it. So that is a very common product that is installed in warehouses, ice rinks, big box stores all have them. They have great advantages, but we've come a long way. since then, the technology is about 60 or 70 years old. The technology on the 400 watt metal halide unit there on the left hasn't changed. The packaging might have changed, but the technology and the performance have not changed in 70 years. And then on the right, we have the LED version. So you can get the LED version with that has a glass sort of reflector. You can get a metal reflector if you want to keep it looking the same. You can actually get it with no reflector if you require, or if you choose. It's up to you. So I'm going to show you how the difference between these two stack up. So you own, let's pretend you have a warehouse. You own one of those 400 watt metal halides. You already own it. BC Hydro wants you to put in one of these fancy 150 watt LEDs hanging from the ceiling. It costs $500. That sounds crazy. I already own this one. What's $500 going to do for me? I gotta move these pictures over here. So the 400 watt metal halide, its bulb life is about 6,000 to 15,000 years. So hours, I mean, not years, hours. So that's about 2 to 4 years. And that's the bulb, that's just the bulb life. So the ballast can fail on these as well. And the ballast replacement is more than $500. It's just cheaper to buy a whole new unit than it is to fix the ballast. So that's a thing. They have a warm up and cool down time. So if you have any of these in your warehouse, or if you've seen any of these before, you know, there's a giant switch, makes a sound, and the lights take a while to come on. And if you turned them off, you have to wait 15 minutes for them to come back on. So if you just like flick the switch, or if the power goes out for a second, you have to wait 15 minutes for the lights to come back on. What that does is that encourages people to just leave them on all the time. It becomes standard operating practice to just leave the lights on. So you're using a lot more electricity than you think you are. The degrading light output of a 400 watt metal halide. So the metal halide technology, what they do is they have a mercury vapor in there, or a sodium chloride vapor, and they energize it, and it makes this little plasma ball. And that light output degrades by about 50% in about 2 years. So let's say your bulb magically lasts 4 years. At 2 years, you're only getting 50% of the light output. And you'll see this in a warehouse. Next time you're in a warehouse, look up. First look up and see how many are out, because there's usually more than one. There's like 10 of these or something. You got 9 or 10. You look up, one will probably be out already. The other one, you'll see that there's varying light levels between the bulbs, and that's because they degrade over time. And then they're omnidirectional. So again, you're heating up this plasma gas. It's not really a controlled light source. That's why it needs that big reflector around it to sort of direct that light in the direction that you need it to go. So there's a lot of wasted light through that reflection process, and you're missing out on the efficiency. So this LED, super fancy, $500 unit. $500 is like the high end. I bought one of these at a local place here in North Van, and they knew us from BC Hydro, so they might have gave me a discount, but it was like $200. So the price varies. If you're a contractor, you got an account with one of these people, they'll give you the good discount too. So that's how the contractors sort of make money on these deals. But so 150 watt LED. They're rated for about 70 to 100,000 hours. So that's about 15 to 16 years, depending on how you use them. They have instant on off. So you can, if we met in person, I would actually bring my unit and we could show you. It's pretty cool. It's dimmable. The switch, you just on off whenever you want. It has a linear luminous flux. So what that is that's a fancy word for, so L70, you see that there. I'm trying to summarize this in the least deep way possible. So L70, as the light degrades, it does degrade similar to a metal halide. Like over the lifetime, it does degrade, but it's linear in that it's very predictable. Whereas the metal halide drops off really quickly and then sort of stays not doing very well, stays at a low 50% light output. Whereas this one will taper off. So at about 50,000 hours, that LED will still be putting out 70% of its original light sources when it was originally installed. So 50,000 hours is still a long time. It's extremely directional light. So LEDs inherently, just like by the nature of their design, they're very directional. And so you can change that with some lensing or anything you want, if you want it to be more of a floodlight or a spotlight or anything like that. But if you hang some of these up in your warehouse or in a high vaulted ceiling or anything like that, you actually don't need the reflector. You could just be just the light fixture itself. So it could be pretty economical that way. So let's run some numbers here. Let's do some math. You got one of these 400 watt metal halides. Let's say you run it 12 hours a day, all year long. So that's about 4,300 hours. Based on the current electricity prices, that's about $206 a year. Every 2 to 4 years, you got to change the bulb. The bulb is $75 bulb. One bulb is $75. The reason why, if you go to the warehouse and you see that at least one is out, it's because changing the bulbs on these is quite the task, especially if you have equipment or supplies or whatever underneath that, because you need to move everything to get access to this thing, this light fixture way up in the ceiling, just to change the one bulb. So that's a thing to consider. The LED version, so using the same sort of math, costs about $77 a year, so you're already saving 129 bucks on electricity costs just every year. And we can pretend that electricity costs are going to stay the same for the next 4 years. And so at $500 divided by 129 bucks savings, so that's your energy savings, the payback comes to about 3.9 years. That's just on the product. Installation is not included in this calculation because I don't know what the installation cost. But the installation cost to change one of those metal halide light bulbs and to put up one of these LED fixtures is probably the same. So you can just kind of figure that might come out as a wash eventually. So 3.9 year product payback, that's not bad. Yeah, are you going to be in business in 3.9 years? Hopefully, probably. And there's no maintenance, it's maintenance free. Maintenance free for the life of the product, which is again, 15 or so years. So what are the incentives? What are the incentives available? Oh, the metal halide, the 400, none. There's none, zero. There is no incentives. You own it. That's just what it is. Costs you what it costs you. Costs $206 a year plus bulbs and all that stuff. The 150 watt LED. So the difference in usage, we go back to this one. So it's 150 watts times 4,300 hours. So the difference between 400 watts and 500 watts, 150 watts over 4,300 hours equals about 1,720 kilowatt hours minus 645 kilowatt hours. That's where that number, that's where those numbers come from. So it's the operating for a year. We measured in kilowatt hours because that's the unit BC Hydro uses. We're saving a little over 1,000 kilowatt hours per year. And we do our magic incentive calculation through our incentive program. And the incentive comes out to about 115 bucks. So what we can do is we can say, okay, it's a $500 unit. BC Hydro will give me 115 bucks if I change it. So what's the difference there? It's like 3 something. And then we divide that by savings of $129 a year. And all of a sudden it comes down to a 3-year payback. So that's BC Hydro's goal. BC Hydro's goal is to entice you, or some might say incentivize you, into purchasing this 150 watt LED sooner than you normally would. You don't need it. You don't need it right now, but sooner than you normally would need it, that we would sort of entice you to buy that, incentivize you to buy that or install that in your place of business and operate it and continue to stay in business. We want you to stay in business. That's also important. So do we want to bring that payback down to a more acceptable level of like tolerance of risk that you can say, you know what, I can take that for 3 years. I can stretch that out over 3 years. That's okay for me. Some projects that come in, it's like, oh, 4 years, I don't know, 3 years, okay, yeah. So kind of want to figure out that sweet spot that's good for you. Oh, yeah, this was my reminder. This is my reminder to tell you that because of this recent year and all the craziness that's been going on with some of the business slowdowns, we might call it, in the summertime, if you submit a project, a lighting project to BC Hydro, you engage with us and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing a project, this is what I want to do, and you submit that project before December 31st of 2020, BC Hydro throws an extra 20% onto that. So for this particular project, $115, what's 20% of that? Another $23. So your incentive then would go from 115 to 140-ish, and that's just a thing that BC Hydro is doing. And again, $115, $140 doesn't sound like a lot. We're talking about one fixture. Normally you'd probably do 9 or 10. So then that incentive is upwards around over $1,000 at that point. No, not many people just have one light to change. But if you do, that's fine too. I'm just gonna, this is a retail program. So I'm just gonna blast through some of these and then until I get to, oh, look at this guy. Look at that handsome fella. Oh, number 10. This is for all businesses. This just isn't even, actually we can go through some of these ones. So number 10 is to seek professional help. That's my advice always, because there's it's an extremely technical process to choose the right lighting products, and it's an extremely technical process, and it's not very intuitive to navigate BC Hydro's incentive process. It's extremely convoluted, you might say, and I'm not a fan of it. But the benefits are there. The benefits are there, and the professionals do it all the time. And so they can make sure that it's seamless and smooth. What are some other ones? Oh yeah, so this one. This is a good one. Source quality products. One of the rules of the program is that you don't buy your products at Home Depot or Rona or any like retail hardware store. And I would recommend as a business, don't buy anything there because you're a business and you should be sourcing quality products from business to business suppliers. The pricing is better and the products are better. Always, always. So the reason why BC Hydro has the rule about you can't go to the hardware store and buy light bulbs and then install them and then get the incentives from them is because we have residential rebate programs in market. So I think it's November, maybe every October we have a program in hardware stores that if you buy light bulbs and you mail in a little coupon, you get $2 per bulb or something like that. So we want to make sure that people don't double dip. So people can't get the incentive from the commercial program and then go and buy the residential products and then get the extra incentive. That's kind of one of the rules, of program rules that we're trying to enforce here. But also, none of these products are going to suit your needs. You want the commercial grade products, and you want them from a commercial supplier, you know, PPST, all that stuff, and then you just get better service and better quality. The rest is just about retail lighting. So this is how the incentive works. This is the only page that you really gotta take notes on and listen. The rest was just sort of primer to this point. So BC Hydro incentives available for upgrading. Plan your retrofit. Look around. Do you have an opportunity? Is it really something that you want to change? You want to make some moves on? Do it. There should be a step in between. In between 1 and 2, you should actually get in touch with BC Hydro. So submit the application. So I'll show you how to maybe do that. if you contact a lighting professional, so a contractor or a lighting supply place, any electrical supplier in British Columbia is familiar with our program. So that's like the EV Horseman or Nedco and Jescan. Some of them are lighting specific, so like Standard Products or Bright Light or any of those guys. We work with them every day on projects. So they are very familiar with our programs. We are on a first name basis. We get along like a house on fire. So this plan the retrofit, and then like 1B should be call a professional, because you need to submit the application before you can purchase and install any product. That's the incentive versus rebate thing. So you have to start the application. Application gets accepted by BC Hydro. The application process is online. It's complicated. The acceptance process is immediate. It's done by a robot at BC Hydro, so that it doesn't take a long time. It's just one of those steps that needs to happen in order for the government to give you money. Purchase products from a commercial supplier, get them installed by a licensed electrician. Some projects may require a permit, some don't. Just depends on the project. And then you receive an incentive. It's that easy. The program rules and caps, as I put that in this morning to remind me. Didn't jump out, but it's still in there. So the program rules and caps. If you do a lighting project and BC Hydro calculates the payback on energy savings to be 1 year or less, which means, let's say you do a project for $1,000 and you're going to save $1,000 or more on your energy bill in the first year. That project isn't eligible, and the reason for that is because that's a really good project, and you should probably be doing that anyway. That happens rarely. The thing that happens most of that is all filtered out with products. So screw-in technology. So you go to your supplier and you get some of these. So maybe you got some lighting in your office area and you screw these in. These pay off in less than a year. These pay off in about 6 months. So this project isn't sort of in our eligible configurations for incentives, because it's something you should already have done and be doing right now. The other one is those tubes, those LED tubes that go into fluorescent light fixtures. That's not in our program right now because there's a few issues. One is we're having quality control issues with managing, because there's too many suppliers competing for market share. So some of them are safe and good and some of them aren't, and we're trying to figure out which ones are which and what technology we're going to go with. There's 2 different versions of those. Some you just put it in and it keeps that high voltage ballast in there, and then others you actually cut the ballast out and wire it hardwired in, like you're going to plug it into the wall kind of tubes. The second one that gets the modified sportive light fixture, we're not totally sold on the safety of those yet. And then also, if you mix and match, if you take one that's designed to be rewired and you put that tube into one that hasn't been rewired, that's a risk of like fire and explosion. So it's kind of one of those things we're not sort of fully behind yet, but we're getting there. Anyway, that was a big story. The LED tubes that go into there, they're so affordable now. Even if you didn't catch fire or explode, they would pay off in under a year. Just so that's another one of those things that if you're going to do it, just do it. We recommend taking down the whole fluorescent fixture unit, send it out for recycling, put up a whole new LED contained unit. We like that also because let's say you move out of that business space and you move into a different business space, and new person comes in, starts operating a business in your old location. If you just had those tubes in, they can take those out and put in fluorescent tubes again. All that energy savings goes away. BC Hydro counts on the longevity of these energy savings. We count that you're on that, you're going to stay in business, you're going to stay in that location, you're investing in that spot, you're investing in your future. So BC Hydro's our goal and our program is all designed on those. We're capturing those energy savings, not just once, but for over a few years. And that's how we can offer you so much money for doing one project, because we count on that energy savings for a number of years. So if somebody moves in, they can just take it out. But if it's a fully installed LED fixture, they're probably not going to remove that. They're going to keep that because it's awesome. The program cap is the incentive will never be more than 75% of the project cost. I've never seen one even become 75% of the project cost, but that's a limit in there. And the idea is that BC Hydro can't just buy your whole project for you and cover the cost of everything, products and installation and all that stuff. So it stops at about, it's capped at 75, but I've seen 60. So I've seen projects where the incentive was up to 60% of the project cost, which is some of those good projects. And the project itself, as we sort of showed in the previous example, the incentive is based on the energy savings and the life of the product and a bunch of other things that are all black box magic. But mostly you can sort of think, if the project is going to save a lot of energy and last a long time, the incentive is going to be bigger. That's how that's going to work. Yeah, we're going to skip that, and I'm going to, oh, like this. Oh, can everybody see that? I don't know. I feel like I'm just talking to myself. How's everybody doing?
We're all good.
Everyone's still there? I was like, I feel like I've just been rambling. Okay, I got 8 minutes. Do I got 8 minutes? I got 8 minutes. I'm gonna move this over there so that I can see this. So this is Yolanda set up this test company so that we can pretend to oh, it's gonna be like that. Here it is. So Yolanda set up this test company. It's a fake application. So this is what I'm going to tell you about how non-intuitive it is. First, you have to log into this thing. You have to set up with your account number. Then you have to try and navigate yourself to starting a project. When you start, you fill out your contact information and all this stuff. And then you go to the next one. This is one where you add your vendor. So my installer is, so if you have a BC Hydro certified contractor, BC Hydro registered contractor, we don't certify anybody, but they're registered with us, which means they know how the program works and they can do all this for you. They'll give you a 4-digit number, and you can just put the 4-digit number in here, and you can send the application over to them, and they can complete all the technical parts. That's the value that the contractor or the distributor would provide. That's the benefit. And they don't charge extra for that. That's just a thing. Or if you have a internal, if you have an electrician that works for you, you can put their information in here. That also works. If you have a non-certified employee, so this is something that maybe doesn't require a permit or any rewiring. So in this case, just to make it easy, I put in Joe Blow there, my guy. The distributor ID. So you're going to need a distributor ID. So this is why you can't buy the products from the hardware store. You have to put the distributor ID. So if it's like whoever the distributor is, the contractor will give you their 4-digit number. You can put it in there. And then they'll often help with this part too. So let's pretend that I have a warehouse and I have 400 watt metal halide, it says here. I have 20 of those. But I also have some signage out the front. And right now I have fluorescent lighting in the signage, and I'm gonna change that to these LED strips. I used the same number of 4,300 hours. That's like 12 hours a day, all year long. So my magic number here is 23,687 kilowatt hours. That's how much energy I'm gonna save per year. We can multiply that by the rate and see what the energy savings are going to be, but I'm not going to do that. So right now, if the project costs $1, the incentive would be 0. But like I said, we're buying 20 of these. They're about $500 each, plus the LED strips, which are not expensive, but installing them can be a bit of a bear. We're going to say it's probably going to be, just based on looking at thousands of applications over the years, we're going to say this project will probably be about $15,000. Whoa, $15,000, that's crazy. And then we can calculate our incentive. We go back down here. So BC Hydro would put in about 4,300 on that, which is almost 30%. So all of a sudden, you're getting $15,000 worth of work and products for $10,000. Again, you're going to save $23,687. I can do my quick math on that. My phone calculator. Oh yeah, you're going to save about $2,800 a year on electricity. So that brings our payback down to close to 3 years. That's what this program is designed to do. That's why BC Hydro is doing this. BC Hydro says, we'll pay $4,300 to ensure that we get 23,687 kilowatt hours for the next 5 or so years from you. We're essentially entering into a contract agreement to buy that electricity off you through the future. We're buying futures in you, in your business. So we want you to stay in business. We want you to be happy with the project, because if you go out of business the next year, we lose that. We're gambling on you succeeding, and we lose that energy. So it's not something that we're super excited about. But that energy is worth this much to us. That's how this program works, and that's why BC Hydro has incentive and rebate programs. And I hope I was able to explain how incentives and rebates are different and why it matters. I didn't go into a lot of detail on how to get to this stage, just because it's so complicated. And your contractor or your distributor will do this for you most of the time. If not, if you want to do this on your own, you can give me a call. I'm also the guy that helps people do this if they want to do it on their own. So you can get my contact information from Tessa, and we can make that happen. Well, getting all kinds of notifications here. What's going on?
I was just going to say that if anyone has any questions, just to type it into the chat here.
Oh, there's a chat?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anything? No? I just talked to my...
Yeah. Oh. So anyways, Atticus can also provide, hi Benjamin, Atticus can also provide financing for the balance.
Yes, Atticus. So, yeah, wait, yeah, I didn't know Atticus was here. So, down here, financial estimate. So what you can do, let's say I want to do this project. It's going to cost $15,000. I don't have $15,000 because you have to pay this part. You have to pay out of pocket. You have to pay the product, buy the products, pay the installers, all that stuff. Then you get this. You get this back at the end. It takes a bit. It takes a couple months. Well, it takes probably, it depends how fast you do the project. Getting this back after you're all done, it takes about 4 or 5 weeks. But you say, I don't have $15,000. I need to finance this project over the next 3 years, 4 years. You can click this button down here, and that will take you to Atticus, I think. I think it directly links to him, and he can help you with some financing options. And that seems to be a pretty amazing thing that I don't think a lot of people are taking advantage of. But so this is a relatively small project. Some of these projects can get up into like $100,000. for like a car dealership or something with all the exterior parking lot lighting. This could be $100,000 project. And we still want to bring that investment payback down through energy savings and incentive amount. We want to bring it down to the 3 to 5 year range. That's the thing. Did I answer the question?
There's no, they have to write everything in chat, so.
I don't know how to open the chat. Oh, there it is. No, it didn't open anything. Oh, it's because I'm sharing my screen.
Ray just said the largest one we have financed was $2 million.
$2 million. Okay, wow. All right, make me feel like small potatoes all of a sudden. That's crazy. That's a big project. But again, so the numbers can be big, but the ratios are usually the same. So the incentive on a $2 million project would probably also be pretty high. And then the energy savings are high, and the payback is, we try and fall into the same sort of category. So it's very scalable, very scalable.
Thanks for BC Hydro for making this workshop happen. Ben, for providing all your expertise in a very complicated topic. I really appreciate it.
Excellent. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you, everyone.